Hello and welcome to today's Dwelling in the Word. Today we want to dwell in Deuteronomy chapter 10 verses 12 through 13. Let's hear the Word of God together. And now, Israel, what does the Lord your God ask of you but to fear the Lord your God, to walk in obedience to Him, to love Him, to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, and to observe the Lord's commands and decrees that I'm giving you today for your own good. The Word of God. Remember what Jesus said long ago, Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. I want us to bring these two passages into dialogue with each other for a moment. Let's start again with the words of Christ. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. The teachings, the instructions, the commandments that Jesus has given to us are not a burden. They're not hard. They're not heavy. They're not cumbersome. They are intended to be life-giving. They're intended to be for our own good. And I wonder, as we think about the fact, this idea that his yoke is easy and light, is for our own good, whether or not we really believe these words when we hear them. When someone says to us, I'm doing this for your own good, we have a tendency, I believe, many times to dismiss it because sometimes those words can be, unfortunately, incredibly self-serving. It's not really about what is good for you or for me in that moment, but we'll hear someone say that. It may be a time or two you have said it as well. And my experience has been is that we don't typically really believe that it's true, that it's really for our own good. But when we come back to Jesus, and we come back to the Lord that we serve and seek and we love, the God that we worship, and the God that we want to know, and the God that one day we long to live forever in His kingdom with, the question I would ask you is, do you trust the Lord? Do you believe God is faithful? Do you believe that God is wise? Do you believe that God knows what He's talking about? And if so, when we hear our God saying, this is for your own good, to do these things and to avoid these things over here, both what God has commanded us to do and the things that God has told us to avoid, to stay away from, and to eliminate from our lives. Do you believe that God knows what He's talking about when He gives us these commandments and these instructions, and He says to us, these are for your own good. Do this. It's good for you. It will be better for you. It will be a blessing to you and to everyone who knows you if you will walk in these ways. Because if we believe that our God is faithful and wise and He knows what He's talking about, then without hesitation, we should gladly embrace all of the teachings of God, all of the teachings of Christ, and gladly do them, to put them into practice, both to do the things He wants us to do and to avoid the things that God has told us to avoid. So let's hear the Word of God one more time, and let's hear it as the church, as the people who are now included as God's people, as part of God's kingdom. And now, church, what does the Lord your God ask of you but to fear the Lord your God, to walk in obedience to Him, to love Him, to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, and to observe the Lord's commands and decrees that I'm giving you today for your own good.